welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And we are here to talk about week 16.
Yeah. 3 weeks left, people. And the Panthers are still alive in the playoff race. As weird as that sounds.
Mathematically factual. That is factual. Actually, even more than mathematically, because it's quite possible that something weird happens and we do make the playoffs.
All we have to do is win out. The problem is...
That's it.
That was last week, too. And...
Yeah. Yeah. Unless we do make the playoffs, this will be the last game at Bank of America Stadium this season. Last home game.
Win.
So if you're going, enjoy it.
Stay warm.
It's definitely going to be the last home game of 2022.
Yeah.
That much is definitely true. Jerry had an opportunity maybe to go. I had an opportunity maybe to go, but Christmas Eve, family obligations.
Well, it was with my brother, but I didn't want to leave my wife with our daughter and then run to.
Yeah.
We have family obligations later on that night at 5 right after the game. I was like, I'm not gonna do that to her. Plus, she'll get upset with me because she would want to go upset. She'd be jealous that I would go and she wouldn't.
Jealousy. The hallmark of a good relationship.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to start. I don't want her kind of frustrated with me on Christmas Eve and Christmas. Yeah, that's just not my style.
Cool. Well, it'll be fine. They'll win or they'll lose without us there. We'll be cheering from home, but it's a must win. It's a must win. I don't think they can lose this game, especially. They can't lose this week or next week for sure.
In my opinion, I think they have to win out. I was looking at Tampa Bay's schedule. It is Arizona, Panthers, and Atlanta. Besides the Panthers, I don't know if Arizona could knock them off, especially with Kyler Murray out. And Atlanta, Atlanta's tinkering for next year.
Atlanta's up and down.
Yeah,
yeah, they're playing Ritter. They're playing their rookie. They got beat by the Saints last week, who are also not very good. So yeah, I was just kind of looking at Ritter's stats from last week: 13 of 26 for 97 yards.
So yeah.
You're not going to win a lot of games.
They're testing out what their future holds.
Sure. And that's fine.
And their roster, honestly, I think they overachieved, in my opinion. I think Arthur Smith is a good head coach. And
Oh, wow. That's an interesting take. They did have a lot of problems. They
look at their roster, man.
Bad. Yeah. Yeah. They're definitely in a transition year. That's the thing is this was the year, right? This was the year the Panthers could have taken this division over, and probably for the next 3-4 years,
this
been
was
in
a
really
goal.
Good shape.
This was the goal for the Matt Rule rebuild.
We knew this was happening. The Saints, once Drew Brees was gone, and all their cap issues, it was going to come back to get them. The Falcons with Matt Ryan leaving and changing head coaches. It was all going to come back to them, and then Tom Brady gets old. That whole roster was old in Tampa Bay. Eventually, it was all, and this year, it all came together, and we couldn't capitalize. At least so far, it does not look like we're going to be able to capitalize.
So yeah, that's oh man. That's exactly what it was a 3-year rebuild. No matter what Matt Rule says later on about Jay-Z. That was the plan, was a 3-year rebuild.
Yeah.
And he 3-year rebuild it to needing another rebuild.
Do you think he used that Jay-Z line in the interview with Tepper?
That's
7 years, man. That's what I need. 7 years. What took Jay-Z? Took Jay-Z 7 years.
But the Panthers still have a chance thanks to our current coach, Steve Wilkes. He kind of righted the ship last week.
True.
They didn't right the ship, but maybe they learned. Maybe the players still looking at that, say, hey, we do have a chance. Maybe we rally together, because they did not rally together last week. They need to protect the bank. They need to get their stuff together, which we'll talk about here in a little bit in the game preview.
We will. Before we get to that, got a little bit of news here. Jerry, let's take it away.
Linebacker Brandon Smith was placed on IR. This actually occurred last week right before the game, but with the game, we didn't really have much to talk about it. Kind of sad to see him go. I know he hasn't played the best football for the Panthers this year, but he's one of those guys that I thought really liked his abilities, and you wanted him to get translate eventually, but he also was very raw that needed playing time. So it's kind of sad to see him go on IR.
Yeah, it's a shame because he really flashed in training camp. He looked good in the preseason, and he had a play or two during the season that showed you what he could be. But again, like you said, raw. I mean, what was he, a fourth round pick? Right?
Yeah, fourth
Round pick. So, a guy with his size and speed and everything, they don't fall to the fourth round unless they need some work, right?
And he had good coverage skills too. It was him learning how to play run defense and stuff that was really his needed work.
Yeah, give him a full off season on the team with trainers and coaches and all that stuff, and I think he's gonna look good next year. So I'm not giving up on Brandon Smith yet.
Another kind of surprise one. This came through on my phone this morning, and I was like, "What?" Returner Andre Roberts is designated to return from IR with 21 days to be activated. There's 3 weeks in the season.
Rest of the season.
I was like,
he could be activated or he couldn't be activated.
Our return game hasn't been stellar, but it hasn't been Brandon Burson back there where you're just like, sending up a Hail Mary, praying to whatever God you want to that he catches it and doesn't drop it.
Yeah, it hasn't been terrible. It has not been dynamic.
No.
And it has been worse since he left, I think. Not that we got to see much of him, but I would assume that they would not activate him unless he was pretty much ready to go this week or next week.
Yeah. And since he is a returner, I wouldn't be shocked if they did return him this week right before the game. Activated him.
They cut Tay Hayes again, presumably to make room for Andre Roberts. So I'm going to think that he'll be out there maybe this weekend, which is good. I mean, add good players to the roster, never a bad thing. I will be completely honest. When I saw this news, I was like, oh, crap, I forgot he was on the team. Completely forgot that Andre Roberts was a Panther. So it'll be nice to see him, hopefully, for the rest of the season.
What is he dressed for? Like 2 games this year? I mean,
I don't even remember when he went out, but it's been
it's not like season, it's not like he was. It's been a 2 different seasons. It feels like.
Yeah. It has been a long season. Oh man. Well, do we have any PFF grades for last week, Jerry?
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, PFF grades for week 15. Start off on offense here. DJ Moore led all offensive players, 78.8. Sam Darnold coming in number 2. I told you, man. I thought Sam Darnold looked okay. I mean, for Sam Darnold, 71.4. Shi Smith coming in at 3, 67.9. Terrace Marshall Jr., number 4, 65.4. And Icky coming in at number 5 at 65. Really kind of struggled on his pass blocking, but did okay on run blocking.
Good to see him back up there, though.
Yeah.
He's the last few weeks has kind of been up and down. I don't know about that Sam Darnold score. 71.4. I guess he did what they asked him to do.
And that's what I think that 71 is. It's not an 80, 90 type of score. It's he took the open receivers, he didn't make stupid mistakes, and that's what we expect out of Sam Darnold. If you're expecting,
he didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
That's about all you can say.
He made some plays.
He always makes some plays, but he also missed some very, integral throws that could have changed the momentum of the game.
I don't think Sam Darnold should be a starting quarterback for this team in the future, but I think last week shows you what he can do. He's not going to be able to carry a team to a win, but he can manage a game to a win.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. Is this team is if the defense
21
doesn't
yards. Like last week, they
yeah,
couldn't run the
yeah.
ball.
Defense run game. That's what we need. And
Yeah.
yeah, they're just not going to trust Sam Darnold to go out and win them the game.
Would
They
you?
didn't even
Because
give him
I
the
don't.
opportunity.
I don't.
No, but you know what? If I'm fighting for my playoff life and what I'm doing is not working, I might just start throwing stuff at the wall.
I agree. Maybe towards the end of the last week, they should have started throwing stuff at the wall for him. I'll agree with that. But going into this game, revert back to what you've been doing in success, and you just hope your O-line and defensive line step up again.
Yeah. Bottom 5 here on offense got Austin Corbett with a 50.9, Steven Sullivan with a 48.2, only 13 snaps.
There's our tight end.
Yeah. Bradley Bozeman, bottom 5, 39.8. I think the whole offensive line struggled especially in the run game.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing. Deontay Foreman, 34.3. Brady Christensen, 28.5. Ooh, that's rough.
That's
so I guess
rough.
Brady Christensen was that guard you were talking about that was having some problems. You talked about on the last podcast.
I guess Austin Corbett could have been too, because he's
true.
50
True.
point.
I mean, 3 of the 5 starters are there in the bottom. So
I laugh to hold back tears. Let's be honest. The offensive line has played great this year. Last week, they sucked. They sucked.
Yeah. Yep.
It sucks that it happened last week, but it is what it is. You got to take your lumps and move on to this week. Defense, top 5. Henry Anderson, number 1 at a 79.1. Only 11 snaps.
11 snaps.
Shaq,
but good to have him back, I guess.
Yeah. Especially, after having a stroke. I mean,
yeah,
that's got to be tough. Shaq Thompson, 78.6. His only downfall was a 41 grade tackling, which doesn't surprise me that much, actually, because I felt like he did miss some. Frankie Louvu coming in at 3, 75.9. Derek Brown, 4, 71.6. Again, Derek Brown's having a great year, guys. 5, Corey Littleton, 70.5.
Bottom 5 here, we got Marquise Haynes, 46.6, only 17 snaps. Matt Ioannidis, 46.0. Keith Taylor, we knew he was going to come down towards the bottom, 43.2, actually higher than I thought he was going to have. Jeremy Chin has had a rough season, I feel like, 40.6. And then Bravion Roy on 15 snaps at 28.1. So 2 28s in the PFF grades this week for the Panthers. That's not a trend you want to keep seeing happening.
I really hope whoever defensive coordinator comes in kind of fixes the Jeremy Chin problem. The Jeremy Chin problem, as I see it, is he has such great talent. We saw it in year 1. And then it seems like he's disappeared since then. I think either they need to make him a joker or move him down to the linebacking core. In my opinion,
he needs a position. And safety. I think it's just a waste of his talents.
I do too.
Honestly, safety you can put great players at safety, and they can be impact players. But I feel like Jeremy Chin's
impact.
We've seen his impact is not at safety and is more in the linebacker area, right?
Mm-hmm. Near the line of scrimmage. Yeah, that's what I really hope that next defense coordinator offseason, I hope that happens, because I feel like we're wasting him back there.
Yeah.
Because
I also wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the season we find out he's been playing with an injury the whole season.
That could be too.
That wouldn't surprise me.
That very well could be.
Yeah. But we need something to happen. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a lot of turnover in this offseason, I feel like. Not only with potentially the coaching staff, hopefully with the coaching staff, maybe not the head coach himself, but, certainly on the offensive side of the ball, we need some new blood in here. And then player-wise, I mean, I think it could be – I don't want to say that we're going to be like rebuilding, but we never really did the rebuild right in the first place.
Correct. We stated that year 1 in the rebuild. We were like, what are they doing?
Yeah. If you're going to rebuild. Yeah. Tear it down.
Don't
You know,
don't go sign Teddy Bridgewater to a 2-year, $30-something million or whatever,
right.
$40 million contract. Roll with Kyle Allen and whoever else you draft.
Roll
Or
with Kyle Allen and then give Hassan Reddick a 3 or 4 year deal.
yeah,
You know, don't just sign these guys to 1 year deals. Give them 2 or 3 year deals that are, they're good players. Give them that money and then roll with Kyle Allen. Or,
some of the
whoever.
Hassan Reddick was a prove it deal, and he proved it, but then he went
But I
and
feel
got
like he proved it the year before.
Yeah, but that was only 1 year because before that, I don't think
I think he'd only played like 3 years.
No, he was a first round pick.
And he was playing, but he was playing out of position.
That was five. He was on his 5th year because
Was
they did.
he?
Yeah,
Okay.
because they drafted him
Either
in the
way.
first round. They didn't do the 5th year option, so the Panthers signed him to that 1 year deal.
Well, turns out he's pretty good.
Yeah, especially this year. I think he's at like 12 or 13 sacks this year. All right, we are gonna take a break and be right back. And on to the game. So, as we like to do before every week, we have a little bit of trivia about our upcoming opponent. The Panthers currently lead the series 7-3 with a 5-1 home record against the Detroit Lions. Now, which player in those 10 games has the most receiving yards in a game between both teams? There's some
Calvin Johnson, I would assume. Right?
Wrong. This happened in 2017, and it was a Panther. I'll give you so much information.
Is this Greg Olsen?
No. Close. It is a tight end. Ed Dixon.
Ed Dixon.
Who would have thought Ed Dixon between Calvin Johnson, Steve Smith, Musin Mohammed?
Yeah.
Wow. Ed Dixon. Greg Olsen.
Well, he had a few games there.
Yeah.
Where you thought maybe he was something.
Well, this was one of them.
And he was not. But interesting. That's good trivia.
All right. So here's a little bonus for you.
Oh, bonus question.
How many games do you think DJ Moore has played so far?
In his career?
Yeah, against Detroit Lions.
Oh, against Detroit. Is this the first game?
Nope. He's played 2 previous games. Now, estimate his receiving yards total in those 2 games.
Total or average?
Total.
94 yards.
287.
Holy crap.
Yeah. I thought he was going to
be...
In 2 games. He's like, I think he was like right up there with the Ed Dixon. He was right below him. But I was like, wow, in his 2 games, he dominated. So maybe he'll dominate again. I don't know. I mean,
so we've only played the Lions 10 times total in our history?
Yes.
That seems weird. I mean, they're an NFC team. That seems odd.
I mean,
like we haven't. Well, I guess they haven't.
Once every 4 years, and then the occasional.
I guess that's true.
Ranking wise. But
we've been a team for like 30 years almost.
Yeah.
We played them 10 times.
Once every 4 years. I mean, do the math.
Guess that makes sense. Guess that makes sense. Okay, good trivia. Good trivia, Jerry.
All right.
And we're 7-3 against them, you said?
Correct.
Okay. About to be 7-4.
Whoa. Let's calm down there, sir.
Listen, this is going to be an interesting game. But let's first talk about the injury reports. We will start with the Panthers. Of course, Brandon Smith, as we talked about, on IR. Taylor Moton did not practice on Tuesday with a rest designation.
Does he have the spins from getting spun around last week?
Maybe. One spun. J.I. I'm just going to call him J.I.
Yeah, I don't even know who he was on the IR or the report last week and still haven't seen him play or anything else. So
all right, let's try. Joel Bunley. I don't know. Someone, send us like a little voice message or something. Tell us how to pronounce that name. Hamstring, limited practice. J.C. Horn. That's an easy one. Shoulder, limited practice. Ian Thomas, thigh, limited practice. At first, I thought the injury designation for him was talent, but it's actually thigh. So limited practice for him. Miles Hartsfield, ankle, limited practice. CJ Henderson, full practice, also an ankle. For the Lions, Kayode Awalaska.
This guy
Offensive
doesn't even
tackle.
have a picture.
Yeah, not even. Yeah, don't have a picture. I probably should just skipped him. Offensive tackle. He's got an ankle. Did not practice. All these guys that I'm about to say did not practice. Jason Kabinda with an illness. Deshaun Elliott, shoulder. Frank Ragnow, their center, with a foot.
That's a big
Limited
one.
practice. Yep, limited practice for these guys. Derek Barnes with a knee. Evan Brown, another guard, ankle. Taylor Decker, elbow. And then Mike Brockers, defensive tackle, illness, full practice. We know Mike Brockers.
There's some key players there, like Taylor Decker, Brockers, Ragno. I mean, those are some key players for them, which I think Brockers will play. Decker, I don't know this real extent of his injury. He was only limited practice, so he may be getting a rest day kind of. Hey, you got a sore elbow.
It's an elbow, so I think an offensive tackle could give it a go. We've seen those guys play with broken arms before, so that's a lot of offensive line injuries that they have, and they have one of the better offensive lines in the league, especially run blocking. But Goff has been protected this year, and it's showing. He's pretty good. So Panthers are 2.5-point underdogs at home against the Detroit Lions. Is that the first time that sentence has ever been uttered? Over under is 44.5, and I promise you that's not because the Panthers score a lot of points.
No, the Detroit Lions, I forget what ranking they are, but they are like top 5, I believe. I know they average 26.5 points per game, but I don't remember exactly what.
They're an exciting team.
Yeah,
they really are an exciting team. They're coming in on a winning streak.
This is not your Detroit Lions from 5 years ago. Although then they had Calvin Johnson, didn't they? So maybe just the Detroit Lions in general.
Still, I mean, even with like Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson, I don't think they were as prolific as they are now.
Yeah.
Because really, I mean, their running game, they've got 2 very good running backs with Swift and Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams is like Mike Tolbert.
Yeah.
He's a touchdown machine. He's cooled off a little bit over the last month or so, but I think he may still lead the league in touchdowns, rushing touchdowns.
Let me check here. I don't know how the league, but he currently has.
I think he's got 14.
Yeah, he has 14 right now. I mean, he has 839 yards on the season, averaging 4 yards per carry. So I mean,
he's good.
Yeah,
he's good.
So let's go.
Let's talk about some keys.
Key things for the Panthers need to do to win. Number 1, get pressure on Jared Goff. Panthers only had 5 pressures last week. Mitch Trubisky isn't a good quarterback, but if you let him sit back there all day, NFL quarterbacks should beat you unless they're Baker Mayfield. So, again, all his PFF grades show the same issue. If you kept him clean, he's getting great marks. Under pressure and under blitzes, it's not the same. It goes down dramatically into the 40s.
It's a big change for him because he's like, you would call him maybe not an elite quarterback when he's got a clean pocket, but he's pretty close. He's right there. And then under pressure, he drops to a below average quarterback. It's a big difference with him. A lot of times we see these guys where they're, above average, maybe average, slightly below, but it's a chasm with him. Of course, Jared Goff, I mean, we know he's not lived up to that draft pick billing. Traded from the Rams for Matt Stafford. They go on to win the Super Bowl immediately, but Jared Goff has played really well this year. He, I think, has saved his career.
I did too, and supposedly Detroit brass think of him as the future at the quarterback position. So I believe they have a top 5 pick from the Rams right now.
Yeah, they do.
And they may not take a quarterback with that pick because of how good he's playing. I mean, this team is probably on the cusp of getting into the playoffs, and
Yeah.
I mean, what were they, 1-6, and they've or 6-1 now, or something like that? They've been reeling off wins left and right. They are hot.
Yeah, they're playing well. They have won 6 out of their last 7 games. Yep. They
And
start off
that
1-6,
one
and they've
game
gone
was
6-1.
against Buffalo on
And it
Thanksgiving,
was,
where they
yep,
almost
they
won it.
lost by 3. Yep. So this is not going to be a cakewalk for the Panthers. By the way, Goff, 3,604 yards. That's 8th in the league. 23 touchdowns. That's 8th in the league. 7 interceptions. That's 12th in the league. That's a good season.
That's a great season.
That's not an MVP season. That's a very good season. I mean, you extrapolate that over the next 3 games. He's flirting with 30 touchdowns, 4,500 yards or so, and maybe 10 interceptions. That's a great season for anybody.
Yeah. Again, he's playing great. Like you said, saved his career. I mean,
yeah, I think so.
And Dan Campbell, eating kneecaps and getting wins.
Well, another key to this game, and it was a key last week, and it did not work out. We'll try it again this week. Run the ball, Panthers. Detroit gives up 133 yards a game. That's 26th in the NFL. Typically this season, especially against teams that have trouble stopping the run, the Panthers have been really good at running the ball. Last week, not so much. They got to get back to it this week. They got to figure out where the problems were last week. Now, the Detroit defense nowhere near as talented, especially up front, as the Steelers are. But this is Panthers are only going to win this game if they keep Detroit's offense off the field as much as they can. And you do that by running the ball.
And you can. You can run on this team. You can pass on this team. This team is not an elite defense. We're not bragging, but we're saying that the Lions, Jared Goff, their running game, their passing game, it's really impressive right now.
Yeah.
But you can run on them. You can pass on them. Aiden Hutchinson is good. Justin Houston is good. Run to the right. Don't run towards them. And, okay, I mean, negate them. Run at them to slow them down their pass rush. I mean, you can make this work. I mean, their 2 best defensive players are side by side in Houston and Hutchinson. You can work with that. Ekwonu, I'm sorry, you may have a struggle day, but
maybe. I mean, even as good as those guys are, Detroit is the 2nd worst defense in the league.
Yeah.
By yardage. And they're almost last. Like, they're right there.
Oh, they're 30th against pass, and what was it against the run that I wrote down? 26?
They're giving up 26 points a game, too. So you can score on them. Mm-hmm. We don't want to get into a shootout because that is not what the Panthers are. If it's a shootout, then you're probably going to see Detroit win this game by 15 points.
Yeah, Sam Darnold is not going to be able to do any shootouts.
Sam Darnold is no Jared Goff.
Do you remember those old BB gun type of shooting games at the carnivals and stuff like that?
When you shoot your friends with BB guns.
I was gonna say in a shootout, he aims at the duck and he shoots the guy behind him somehow.
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold.
No, they don't even give him the gun. That's the problem. They don't even give him a gun. They give him a
Sam Darnold shooting duck.
They give him one of those little rubber tip darts that he can throw. I mean, you have to run on this team. I think if the Panthers don't hold the ball for 37, 38 minutes time of possession, I don't think there's a way to win this game. The Lions offense is just too good, and they can beat you too many different ways. And they just got that rookie receiver. Was it Williams?
Yeah, Jamal Williams, but
Jameson or something.
Jameson Williams. I think that you're right there.
He seems like he's going to end up being a really good player, and he's just kind of figuring it out. And they've got Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah,
who kind of
J.C. Horn. That's on you.
Yeah. So, are we talking about Keith Taylor trying to stop the other guy again? I mean, that's going to be rough.
Yeah, I mean, that feeds into my third key matchup of the game. Another cornerback needs to step up besides J.C. Horn. I mean, C.J. Henderson has struggled this year. Dante Jackson struggled this year. I mean, he's out on IR right now, but
He's really struggling right now.
Keith Taylor, wow, like you got.
Taylor, I think Taylor deserves to be benched after the
I
game he played.
I
Like, give
don't
me
know.
C.J. Henderson the whole game over there.
Well, he's injured. That's why Keith Taylor played.
Yeah,
He has that
you're right.
ankle injury. So if he doesn't play, I mean, whew. Are
Is
we
he
gonna
on
have
the
to go to
he wasn't on the
TJ
injury
Carey?
report,
Yeah,
was
he
he?
is. Scroll up.
Did I just read him on the injury report?
Yeah, he has an ankle injury, full practice.
Yeah,
But
full practice though, so he's gonna play. He's gonna play.
well, he practiced and played last week, but then he couldn't go like after the
Yeah,
game
true.
started. So you never
Well, it's
know.
good to see on Tuesday having a full practice designation.
Yeah,
That's always good to see. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. I don't know that if we don't have like the good C.J. Henderson game, right?
yeah,
I could easily see Goff throwing for 300 yards
I could too.
on our defense. I mean, because outside of Horn, there's no elite
There's
person
no.
in the secondary.
I don't even want to say elite. There's not a guy that can that slows down. That was the thing is Keith Taylor couldn't even slow them down. It was just letting them constantly catch a ball for first downs and then tackling him.
And those running backs, Swift and Williams, they're also pretty good receivers, both of them. So, you could easily see they don't throw the ball to Williams as much, but in Green Bay we saw he was a pretty good receiving back. Swift gets a lot of targets.
Yeah, he has.
Swift got 9 targets last week.
Yeah, he has 36 receptions, 54 targets on the season. So yeah,
and he's been injured a bit too, so that's not a full season. But yeah, he's one of those dangerous guys, kind of like he's Kamara-esque, but not quite as talented.
I mean,
but still very good.
DJ Chark is on this team. TJ Hawkinson, Josh Reynolds. I mean, these guys are not household names, but they're solid receiving options.
Well, Hawkinson got traded, right?
Oh, did he? I'm sorry. He's still showing up on there.
He got traded to the Vikings.
My apologies, people. He was still on their receiving.
They don't seem to have missed him that much.
No.
Though that offense is still clicking. Yeah, I mean, I think those are going to be your keys mainly. To try to put pressure on Goff, run the ball yourself, and then who in the secondary is going to step up?
We need somebody. I mean, that's one thing.
Go ahead.
That's one thing that has crept up in my needs for this team in the offseason is somebody besides J.C. Horn in the secondary, cornerback.
Yeah.
Dante Jackson got that big contract, but I don't trust him back there. He didn't look good at the first half of the season.
No, he did not.
And then he got injured, so
yeah,
where are we going to go? Because teams are passing on us. We need a pass rusher. We need a quarterback, obviously.
Mm-hmm. I'm just looking real quick through the games that we've lost, what we've given up in the run game, and it's always been over 100, but oftentimes it's closer to like 160, 170.
That's the way this defense does it. It's really weird because sometimes they can do such a great rushing defense, and then all of a sudden they falter. Opponents' rushing yards per game. I'm pulling it up right now. We are giving up 130 yards per game. But there's so many games that I can think of that we held them to like 50 yards, 60 yards. So,
yeah, mainly the wins, right? Like against the Saints, we gave up 84 yards, right? That was a win. Against the Bucks, we gave up 46 yards in a win. I mean, the Falcons, I think it was something like, that was 138 yards, but we ran for 232 ourselves. So if we're like running twice total of our opponent, we're probably going to win the game. Stop the run the ball. Now I think you can stop the run on Detroit.
Yeah, I did too.
Because again, Swift is very good. Williams is very good, but they're not like running the lights out.
Mm-mm.
You know, but again, you take away their run, they can just pass. They're they're very good, and they do weird things. Like the coaching staff, Dan Campbell, he can either win you the game or lose you the game. But this year he's been winning more games than he's been losing. He's kind of taking chances. He's sort of riverboat ronning it. You know, he'll be at a position in the field where you're like, well, it's a really long field goal, or you can punt and pin them back. Pin the defense or pin the offense back. He's just kicking the field goal. He's going for it on fourth downs. Like he's very aggressive. But it can get him in trouble too, and we saw that the first part of the season. But again, they're playing really strong right now. They're in the playoff fight just like we are. They're more talented than we are.
I mean, they're playing better.
This could be a tough game.
It could be.
Could be.
All right.
But it could be a good game for the Panthers too, because the Panthers have beaten good football teams.
Yeah, you're just flip-flopping,
we held the Ravens
though.
to 13 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the Seahawks. The Seahawks were playing good coming into that game. We beat them 30-24. That's pretty much it. Everybody else we beat sucks. So
yeah,
it's pretty much the Seahawks, and then we almost beat
Baltimore.
So I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, let's talk about beer bet of the week.
Beer bet of the week.
We've got one this week.
Yes, we do. You could go ahead and announce it.
Okay. So I asked Jerry before we started this podcast. I said, Jerry, do you think Sam Darnold's going to play the whole game?
And I said no.
He paused.
Or I said yes. Sorry.
You did say yes. So Jerry thinks that Sam Darnold will play the whole game. I think we're going to see some PJ in this game. I think we're going to get down. And when we get down, that's where Sam Darnold struggles. And I think we're going to see some struggle Darnold this week.
Oh.
And I think in the second half, we're going to see a little bit of PJ Walker come in. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope we run the ball well. We keep Sam Darnold clean, because that's, I mean, again, Sam Darnold under pressure is not a good quarterback, and we know that.
Nope.
So.
Nope. And if you get down by 2 scores, they're coming.
Yeah.
They're going to pin their ears back, and they're coming, and you better figure out how to get rid of that ball quick. Even a defense that's not great or not even good, if they've got a 2 touchdown cushion, they're going to be able to come at you. They're going to bring 8-9 guys. I mean, they're just going to come at you.
I mean, they may bring 8-9 guys anyways just to stop the run, and then they'll be like, Sam Darnold beat us.
Of course, if we're down 2 scores, we might still be running the ball.
Yeah.
They will not let Sam Darnold throw. So I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, bold prediction time. Jerry, you're up.
3 more games, guys. Terrace Marshall Jr.
Oh my God.
100 yards.
I'm gonna go with man, that's kind of a mean one. I shouldn't do that. I was gonna say 0 catches by the Panthers tight ends. Also, I don't know how bold that is.
Well, they love to do that play action rollout to Ian Thomas in our first 10 plays every game. So
yeah, that's true. He's usually the first one targeted. You know what? I'm gonna go with PJ Walker, more passing yards than Sam Darnold. I'll just piggyback on the beer bet.
Wow. All right.
PJ more passing yards.
All right, game predictions.
Game predictions.
I'm going to go ahead and go. I'm going to go 27-24. I'm picking the Lions, guys. I feel bad to do it, but maybe because I kept picking against them and then they started winning again, I'm hoping the same thing happens. But
yeah,
the Lions are on a roll.
I'm going to try to jinx the Lions even harder. And I'm going to go Lions 35, Panthers 14.
Oh, I don't want to watch that on Christmas Eve. That's going to piss me off.
That's not going to be a good Christmas. Santa's not bringing us... I guess we haven't been a good fan base because all we're getting is cold this year.
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen, by the way. But
I feel like
I
this
just I
this
gotta
year has
bet. I
been.
think the feeling is the season's.
Are you expecting the season roller coaster to end basically and just kind of fall out?
I think it's more likely we end up 5-12 than we do make the playoffs.
Wow.
Unfortunately,
All right. Well,
yeah.
okay, Grinch. Let's go ahead and look at the NFC South games here real quickly. Uh,
Please, I hope the ghost of football past visits me and I can go back to 2015.
Atlanta Falcons visit the Baltimore Ravens. Don't see the Falcons winning that. New Orleans Saints at the Cleveland Browns. That could be interesting. And to Tampa Bay Bucks versus the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. I don't see the Cardinals winning that unless
who's the Cardinals quarterback right now?
Colt McCoy.
But he got hurt.
Oh, he got hurt?
Yeah. So is it? It's oh man.
I mean, he played one game. Kyler Murray got hurt the week before.
Yeah, he got hurt. It's
Well,
Trace McSorley.
oh wow. Okay,
I
good
think
old
that's
Trace.
like I think McCoy's questionable, but people are thinking it could be Trace. I think that's a Sunday game, right?
I
Think that
don't
game's
know. I
on
just wrote
Sunday.
down
Yeah.
the. Oh,
Yeah, it's the
man.
Sunday night game.
Oh
It's the
man.
Christmas Sunday night game. Is going to be Trace McSorley versus the corpse of Tom Brady.
You know what would be great if the Panthers win, and the Tampa Bay Bucks lose, and then next week they flex our game to prime time. Although I think
That would
they
be
have to give
nice.
it 2 weeks, don't they?
I don't know how the flex rules work anymore. I feel like they just do whatever they want.
I mean, it
Um,
is the NFL, so that doesn't surprise me.
I don't even know if they'd flex us because even though it's a division fight, it's still would be 2, 6, and 9 teams. Like I don't know if they'd flex that.
I mean, so have you seen some of the games we're supposed to be watching coming up?
Oh, all the Sunday games suck. All the Sunday games suck. Like, look at the Sunday games. It's gonna be let's see. Shoot, where is it? Oh, never mind. I was looking at last week. Bear with me. It's Packers Dolphins. That's not a terrible game.
Mm-mm.
Broncos Rams. That's your 4:30 game. That's a terrible game. You got Brett Ripien versus Baker Mayfield, and then Bucks Cardinals as the night game. But then Monday you've got Chargers Colts, and that could be an interesting game.
Chargers Colts.
I mean, the Colts.
I mean, Jeff Saturday couldn't crumble.
Jeff Saturday is always entertaining to watch. What happens to that team with him as the coach? All right, Jerry. Any final thoughts on this game?
On this game, no. Panthers, show up.
Yeah.
Please show up. Save my Christmas. Show up and beat the Lions. Don't save
Look, I want the Panthers to win really bad, and my score prediction is mainly just me being so disappointed from what I saw last week from them.
Yes.
Just not even at a home, just not showing up.
And not being able to do anything that they wanted to.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're right. I mean, they just sucked, and I don't believe in them right now. So I have hope, but I just don't believe them. So we'll see.
All right. We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@MeowMixPodcast. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on our show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. We are trying to figure out how we're going to do the recap game because both of us have family presents and obligations for Christmas on there, but we're going to figure it out.
There will be something that comes out. It'll either be a Jerry solo right after the game, or it could be a me solo a few hours later. Who knows? But there will be something that comes out. Hopefully, it's with a win. So until then, everybody stay safe out there. Have a Merry Christmas, and keep pounding.